Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Frank Tianxie, Dr. Frank Tianxie. Okay. I want to talk about America at a crossroads in this year's election. Okay. America today is at a crossroads. Okay. Something realized by people on both sides of the political spectrum. Okay. The most important issue for American voters in 2024, according to a survey by Statista, right, is inflation and prices 25%, right? Immigration 11%, healthcare 10%, and job economy 10%. So in short, the most important issue is the economy for American voters this year. Right? I'm a researcher in business and economic matters. However, me and others in the field often seek factors outside of economy to find the true underlying causes that either stimulate or stifle economic growth. We often go so far as to identify the philosophical, ideological, and international factors that contribute to the economic well-being of a nation. Because the way we think, right, what we believe and how we behave, as well as how we interact with other countries, do indeed affect our economy, our way of life, and of course, our cost of living. What I observe is an increased concern among Americans about both the external threat from CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, as well as an internal threat in the form of communism subversion threatening our way of life. The concern is especially notable among minority groups, some minority groups, namely the Cuban group, right? Cuban Americans, the Chinese Americans, and the Vietnamese American communities. And why is that? The reason is simple. Okay? Many from these communities came to America in their youth and adulthood after fleeing or leaving socialist and communist societies. In many cases, they had been born there and experienced firsthand a socialist system, myself included. Right? Based on their real lived experience, they certainly do not want to experience that again in America. Okay? Yet to many Americans who do not have this firsthand experience, their perception of socialism and communism is mostly shaped by textbooks and the media. Okay? This year marks the 75th anniversary of the Chinese Communist Party, about its taking over of power in China. When asked about why the Chinese Communist regime could last that long, while the Soviet Union was long gone, Dr. Andrew Nathan, a political science professor at Columbia, offered his explanation. He felt that it was the so-called economic growth, especially over the past 2 or 3 decades, that lead to China's getting richer and their standard of living being lifted, compared with that of 30, 40 years ago. But how was that actually achieved? How was that achieved? Right? It actually was because of America that opened its market, provided the technology, and lent the management skills that helped to save China from the economic collapse in the aftermath of the Great Cultural Revolution. And in 2001, the United States allowed China to join the World Trade Organization, WTO. Not only did the United States fail to take advantage of the demise of the Soviet Union and the Eastern European Communist bloc, but also failed to continue its victorious quest to eradicate communism completely around the world. On the contrary, the United States and the West have provided political support, economic support, market for trade, and even military technology and cooperation to allow the Chinese Communist regime to survive and take the opportunity to develop and grow. In the end, it backfired on the United States and the West, and now it has become a major problem for the US. To the dismay of many in America, we helped the Chinese Communist Party, but we created a monster which has now become stronger and more aggressive and ever more hostile to the West. Meanwhile, we are allowing the CCP to subvert America by letting this communism ideology to creep into America in a bid to destroy us. Dr. John J. Mearsheimer is a chair professor in international relations at the University of Chicago, who is well known for his offensive realism theory. He describes the interaction between great powers as being driven primarily by the rational desire to achieve regional hegemony in a leaderless international system. According to his theory, Mearsheimer believes that China's growing power is likely to bring it into conflict with the United States. In his book, The Great Delusion, Liberal Dreams and International Realities, Mearsheimer believes that America's liberal hegemony has now failed. Okay? Liberal hegemony means that the United States, as a country that pursues liberalism, seeks to promote this social concept based on Western democracy and freedom to other countries and regions through the United States regional and global hegemony. Because of the failure of US liberal hegemony, coupled with the rise of nationalism in various countries, as well as to the role of the United States in the conflicts in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria, and US foreign policy in Ukraine and the Middle East, coupled with the expansion of NATO and the rise of China and Russia. It has caused our world to transform from unipolar to multipolar. In a time like this, with a multipolar world, it is even more important for America to have a clear leadership in world power diplomacy. The rise of China and the resurgence of Russian power, mean that the liberal hegemony is gradually disappearing, and the United States now faces two potential rivals that may be equally competitive. One of the reasons why I agree with Professor Mearsheimer's assessment is that in the dispute between the United States, China, and Russia, the United States the US should work with Russia, which has already denounced the communism, rather than exclude Russia and push it towards the Chinese to jointly deal with the greatest enemy of humanity, the Chinese Communist regime. Tariffs imposed on China under the Trump administration and carried on by the Biden administration are tough measures against China. Whoever wins this election should continue and finish this strategic economic showdown with China. In Mearsheimer's view, liberalism is being defeated by nationalism. But according to my analysis, liberalism is in fact being defeated by international communism, including external Chinese communism and internal far-left socialist elements in this country. The United States is attacked. We are attacked from all sides, both at home and abroad, in my opinion. So in addition to what Mearsheimer believed to be the factors of competition between nationalism, realism, and liberalism, it was the Chinese communism that made it happen. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.